Hey guys, Furum here, and today I'm going to be showing you the Porsche 911 GT3 RS in multiplayer in Asphalt 9 at max. Thank you to Bebop for these races. Now, after I won this car in the DS3, I was thinking about making a video about it myself, and I tried recording some races. Then I realized this car at 1 star is nowhere near as good as it is at max. You see, at 1 star it goes only 206 miles per hour, and well, it's a B-class car, so you can't use it until you're in Gold League. And 206 in Gold League is not very good. Most of the cars that you're facing are going to be going at least 8 to 10 miles per hour faster than you. And at 1 star, this car's other stats just don't really give it much of an advantage in any aspect at all. Now, it's a completely different story at max though, and that's why I really wanted to show off this car in its full potential. It is definitely one of the best B-class cars for multiplayer. It goes 219 miles per hour at max. It has the second best acceleration in B-class. It has the second best handling in B-class, and it has the best nitro in B-class. Yeah, it really has a lot going for it, but you really haven't seen a whole lot of them in multiplayer. But recently, since the DS3 has come, a lot more people have unlocked this car or started up to a star count where it is going to be better in multiplayer, and so we will probably see more now, because as you can see, its drifting is really good, its acceleration is great. I mean, it doesn't really have any disadvantages. The only real disadvantage that I can think of is the fact that its speed being only 219 does put it at a disadvantage in especially Slipstream season, but also sometimes in normal multiplayer on tracks where a high top speed is going to be very good. And that also keeps it from being quite as good as the Huracan in events, for example. But in multiplayer, the Huracan and the 911 are definitely super evenly matched. The new Nevada track is a really good one for this car because it's able to get around those hairpin turns so much easier than many cars in the game, just because its drifting radius is very tight. And we will see that later in this video. There's a few Nevada races coming up. The current track, Rome, is also quite a good one for this car. We're facing a Huayra BC, a Huracan, as well as a Porsche Carrera GT. Now, I got my Carrera GT at 2 stars, and it's actually fast enough to be decent, so I will be making a video about my own one of those soon, as well as my own CX-75. Now, I'm also thinking I will do one about my 2-star Vanda. It hasn't done quite as good as some of the other ones. The Vanda gets really good at higher stars, but at lower ones, it's still just kind of meh. And also, I unlocked the Genti Aculone. Surprisingly, it's not bad at 1 star because its speed at 233 or so is already pretty good. I mean, it's not the best, obviously, but it's right up there along with the likes of the Porsche 918, which obviously it's not as good as at 1 star. But if you're able to get ahead of some cars which might be overall better but just aren't as fast, you can do decently well in just a 1-star Genti, which I found to be pretty interesting. Since last update, I started making videos in the max free try events that I get for the new cars in the updates, and people have been asking me recently whether I will be making those for this update as well, and when I will likely do them. Well, usually we get them around the time that the new season starts, so I don't have them yet, but likely I'll get them in a few days, 3 days, or whenever the current season ends, and after then, I'll definitely start making them, because I really think they are a great way to show off these cars ahead of when they might come in a season or in an event, to sort of give you guys a really good idea of what you might be getting when you go for that car, because nobody wants to go for a car that they just have no idea how it performs. So yes, those are coming. Also coming is a video about the speed trials, a new game mode in Asphalt 8 that was released in the most recent update, and that one, I was a little mistaken in my previous video. I thought that there were 50 times you could play, period, in one of the seasons. Actually, it's 50 per day. So yeah, I'm not gonna do 50 of those in a day. That would just take up way too much time in one day, but definitely gonna make a video about that. Got some pretty good races in there. Bebop really shows what this car can do on Nevada, going up against multiple Corvettes, which you would also think would be very good on that track, which they are, but the Porsche is faster faster by 5 miles per hour. So although the Corvettes can get around the turns just as well, this car will just be one step ahead of them. The 911 is definitely a better car than the Corvette for multiplayer, being pretty much an upgraded version of it in almost every way, and I really do hope that we start seeing more of these in multiplayer to finally give it its time to shine as the great multiplayer car it is, but also just to have some more variety. In this race on San Francisco, Bebop's up against 3 Huayra BCs, 3 Huracans, as well as a Vanda, and he told me that the Vanda is definitely one of the better Class A cars for multiplayer, that its stats might make it not look very good, but remember, that's the one of the cars that has a much faster perfect nitro than its other nitros, so it goes quite a bit faster than its stats would suggest, and having over 85 acceleration just like this car, and again, just like this car, having really good handling and nitro. It's like an upgraded version of this car even, so if you like the 911 and the Corvette, and you want a really good A-Class car that basically feels the same, go get the Vanda. That thing will do extremely well. Again, at 2 stars, not amazing. At max, super good. So at 4 stars, I assume it's somewhere in the middle. So in this race, he's facing an SV, a couple of Huracans, as well as another Porsche 911 at the exact same rank. Now, one thing this car can do, which is pretty useful, is being able to drift without losing a whole lot of speed. So he was able to do that at the beginning of the race to get some more nitro. As you can see, this car's nitro just lasts kind of forever. This is definitely a car that I want to star up more in the future, and I certainly would have in the DS3 event if I had been able to, but I didn't spend any money, so yeah, that didn't happen. So about the Full Throttle season, which is going on right now, in my previous video I told you guys that it was basically matched on cars rank instead of being matched on player rating, which is really cool and is how it was in Asphalt 8. But definitely one of the things that is not so great about that in Asphalt 9 is simply the fact that we haven't had many seasons like this before, and even the couple that we have had, because apparently there have been some, people told me down in the comments, I haven't recognized them, no one told me about them, and it was just kind of something that flew under the radar, and I wouldn't mind having them again. Definitely brings some sense of nostalgia back from the old Asphalt 8 days. The problem is, none of our cars are set up for it. So although you could technically do a kind of multiplayer tuning now because of the rank matchmaking based, or at least in this season, we have no guarantee that it's going to come again, although it likely will in occasional seasons. But also, well, most of our cars that we have started up, we've already maxed, or at least gone up equally in the different stats, because there was no reason not to do that before except to save credits. So far, there hasn't been a way to really take advantage of it. Now, if we see that this does keep happening, there's definitely going to be some room to figure out what might be the most optimal multiplayer tuning. The thing is, I'm not really expecting Gameloft to keep this going forever. Again, just to have occasionally, probably, just for some more variety, which I think is honestly great. I'd be fine with them doing that, even if they don't keep it. But I'll definitely be interested to see if anybody bothers trying to multiplayer tune any of the new cars we get. I might try, not sure. Depends on if we get another one of these seasons before then. If we do, I definitely want to give it a shot. So now it is time for my general review about this car. It's definitely one of the best B-Class cars overall. Not the king in events, but definitely one of the kings for multiplayer. It's just extremely reliable, extremely easy to drive, pretty average speed, but amazing stats otherwise all around, and you're really going to be able to pull out some great wins with it in multiplayer. So guys, thank you all so much for watching. Please like the video if you have enjoyed, and big thanks to Bebop for these races. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye!